So, unusual. Let me begin with an observation about yesterday's programme. Quite a few of you said I was Boris bashing as I examined the problems that he currently faces. Not so. What I set out to do was to seek a real measure of those problems with a close friend and an ally of the Prime Minister's, Conor Burns MP, a loyal minister and former PPS to the Prime Minister himself. I also talked to the news editor of Conservative Home. It's a Tory website, and he was very critical. What we try to do here is ask blunt questions with an open mind and then let you decide. I always invite you to send in your messages and your thoughts. And sometimes they're supportive and sometimes they tear me to shreds. And I love both. So today I have another, and I expect it will provoke. But please bear with us until you've heard all of the arguments. My question is this. Has Labour finally moved into a position where it is offering a credible opposition? Maybe now, when the Conservatives look over to the other side of the House of Commons to see Sir Keir Starmer looking confident with Shadow Chancellor Rachel Reeves to his right and Deputy Leader Angela Rayner to his left, do they seem a very real and imminent threat? Here's the point. Our democracy only works if governments of any and all persuasion are challenged by an opposition which is fit for purpose. It took Labour 18 years and 3 leaders to recover from Michael Foot's leadership in the early 1980s. To many, Labour lost its way and its purpose in the wilderness years of Jeremy Corbyn's leadership. Sir Keir Starmer, as I said a moment ago, elected in 2020, had a slow start, but with a significant reshuffle at the end of November last year, I think things are looking quite different. It may have to do more with the government's problems than Labour's newfound confidence, but Starmer's party now have a double-digit lead in the polls. In his New Year's speech, he said Boris Johnson had lost moral authority, and in contrast to the Prime Minister, he would offer, and I quote, straight leadership. And he's carried out an onslaught of attacks on the Prime Minister's trustworthiness since the start of the year. Now, last week's PMQs attracted this tweet, and I quote, Keir Starmer's being witty and confident. Seems to have grown about a foot. Tectonic plates shifting? Close quote. Not the usual and predictable hurrah from some Labour supporter, but that was from an FT columnist, Camilla Cavendish, who used to be David Cameron's head of policy in number 10 Downing Street. Now, I'm not asking if Labour will win the next general election or even the local elections in May. And as the Times columnist Ian Martin observed, Labour's advance so far under Starmer shouldn't be overstated. Totally agree with you, Ian. After all, this is midterm territory, and for many of us, Starmer himself will always be the man who tried to make Jeremy Corbyn Prime Minister, close quote. But he too sensed a spring in the opposition's step. So I'm simply asking this afternoon if they've crossed the line into seriously threatening territory as Boris Johnson and his party wrestle with their own current challenges and as the nation moves out of COVID and hopefully recovery. It's all about the choices that you are offered by our precious democracy. You may be Tory to your bones, or Labour, or Liberal Democrat, or Green. I don't care. And anyway, it's none of my business. What is my business is to report on and discuss the state of our democracy, in which, as the cliché goes, it takes two to tango. Having no decent opposition's a seriously dangerous state of affairs, not diminishing policy changes either. Labour's recent claim to be the party of business as it demands a windfall tax on the energy companies will take some squaring. Sir Keir's acceptance of Barry Gardner's explanation of funding received from a known Chinese agent left many surprised, to say the least. Here's what Keir said. He's given an account. He's explained his position and declared that money in accordance with the register. Well, for many, that simply wasn't good enough. And finally, Starmer says his Labour Party's finally moved on from challenging Brexit. Well, on that, the jury is out as well. So, is it about policy? Is it about personalities? Is it about purpose? Have he and they got it? To explore this question, is Labour fit for purpose, I've invited a top Labour policy man from the Blair era, and last time Labour won a general election, a man who left Labour because of Jeremy Corbyn, and an impartial political historian and biographer. We'll hear what they have to say, and as always, I genuinely want to hear what you have to say before I finally have my say. I'd be very keen to hear from any Conservative voters watching or listening who are thinking of following Christian Wakeford and his lead when it comes to the local elections in May. Are you going to defect and put your cross in the Labour box, or have you been persuaded to stay loyal? Let us know your reasons either way. Let me know what you think via email, gbviews@gbnews.uk, or on Twitter, Facebook, and of course, all the rest of it.